Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com. And it's Monday. It is December 4th. This will be our chart lessons for today. And we just wrapped up another month. Can't believe I'm saying that. Starting the final month and final quarter of the year. We'll be switching over to the new contract in a week or so. Um, but it's amazing how fast this year went by. But anyway, let's talk about the trades. Here's the bigger picture. We had a gap up this morning, and no surprise here that we came back and tried to fill that gap. That generally is that's pretty common. The way this market's been rallying, though, you never know that we don't go higher. But we did. We came back and filled this gap and then some, actually. Um, we're closed almost. Actually, we've opened the overnight session now, and we've traded down a little bit more. But for the most part, I was playing this as a range early on. Of course, you got trends within the range, and you want to pay attention to those. There was a bigger channel here that it didn't hurt to have this trend line on here. It would have helped you with this trade here maybe. It didn't bring you a whole lot today. You would have been mostly better off playing this range. And just to show you a couple of things here. Here's the measurement of the first range. Once we went lower, you just look for a measured move, and look, it was perfect to the tick, and then it bounces and it turns down off. This turns out this is a midline here. Earlier looked like the lower part of the range turns out to be a midline. And we spent most of the day bouncing off that, most of the rest of the day bouncing off that midline before we actually pushed down lower. And once we started going lower, another thing I would look for would be a measured move here. And you can see we actually bounced there a few times before we went lower, and then I would look for another leg just like that one, measure this one, which was the same as that other one, and then look for another leg down. And that would have got you down here to within a couple of, a point, 3 or 4 ticks where we closed today. So wanted to show you those measured moves real quickly. And for the most part, you just have to trade on days like this. You trade these shorter term trend lines and trend channels within the pattern, the regular pattern. So hopefully you can see that. You can see we got a little spiking channel down here, and then we just actually had another little measured move down basically here. If you measure this first leg, once we went lower, you can see it's a perfect measured leg again as well. Oops. I don't know what I did there. Meant to delete that. I hit some other button evidently. I don't know what caused that. I must have hit something that does something here. But anyway, quite a few trades in the morning, and then it just kind of got slow right in here. Um, and then a couple more late in the afternoon. But it really got slow in here. When it starts getting this tight and sideways, it's really hard to find a trade, and you're better off just to sit tight. So, but let me back out a little bit. We'll go through the trades and get today wrapped up. But when I came in, we were really going sideways, and it was obvious these were your highs, and this looks like this is your lows. We bounced there a few times. But you could almost call this a double test of this level. So if you wanted to, you could enter there. You're probably better off to wait on a higher low, see if we get another one, and then you get one here, and then you got a sure double test at that level, and you got a nice bullish bar, and you got a double test, and you bounced there 3 times, so you got a little more. This is the more solid trade here. I like going long, and if you take that trade, you get a runner, and you could ride this really all the way up. I probably would have exited once we started backing up right here. And that's the first bar that you really even got to break lower. So all these, you never made a lower low until we broke below that bar right there. We made a lower low. So, and then you just make a little, this is a double bottom, so you count that as a new low. So first entry and then second entry, it fails. It's a little reversal pattern. Failed second entry long, bounces right off the EMA. I like going long there. You got enough room to get out before you get back up here, so I like that one. And actually, you basically get a, look for a, if we keep going through this line, look for a possible measured move, and you can see if you measure it from there, it's pretty close, about the same either way. We actually went a little further, so that's a good sign. Went a couple of ticks further. I'm gonna tell you, this is very, very tempting on a failed break higher, being that far away from the EMA. Generally, you want to wait on a lower high. When we get one, we're just basically going sideways there, so I'm not crazy about that one, but I'll be honest with you, these are the trades I like. I'm going to go ahead and mark it. I'm going to mark it green because you're really better off to wait on a lower high, but you don't get the benefit waiting on the lower high that you get by being a little bit aggressive here. But it's so hard to pick these that I'm not crazy about pointing them out. You really need to know what you're doing. But today, this is not a trend at this point. This is 2 legs up in a trading range in a failed break higher, and that's only like 3 ticks. Look how far away from the EMA we are. So you're going to risk 3 or 4 ticks to maybe catch a major high of the day. And guess what? You would have. And, you would have gotten in at 26.64 or 5 or so. And you can see we're almost 30 points lower here by the end of the day. So that's why I like those breaks like that. They often lead to major highs or lows of the day, or at least that point of the day, where this turns out to be the high of the day. So anyway, then we get a failed second entry long here. You get a lower high here, but you're just kind of going sideways. But when you get that failed second entry long, I liked that one. Really bearish bar. It's also a double test of this level here, this high. So I like that one. I really was hoping it'd take off quicker. It didn't. So you might have got shaken out of this one. But when we made this lower high and start lower again, I wouldn't enter again here or add on probably, because this is really your signal bar. It's just too neutral. There's too many dojis in there going sideways by this point. I probably would, if I wasn't already in, I wouldn't get in here. But this one would have still worked. And then it comes back. This actually makes a double top. So first entry, second entry. So you got 2 legs down, a failed second entry long, and that kind of confirms that spike and channel down. So I like that one. Quick, easy move. You don't get a run or anything. And then it's 2 legs back up, but your signal bar is not very good here. Wait on a lower high and see what happens. And it comes back, and it does make a lower high. Real bearish bar. So now we're probably going to go test this lower, maybe back down to the low of the range. And we actually get a good bit more there. We actually get a little breakout pullback short, but that bar is too neutral, and it's an inside bar. It's a first entry. We've already had a pretty good move down. We may get another leg, but you need a better entry than that. So you just kind of have to watch that one, unfortunately. It does bounce on a perfect measured move, but generally you need to wait on that higher low, which comes here, and then it's a sure doji, and you're back up to the EMA. But when it makes that failed second entry short and a higher low, if you want to go long there, I'm okay with it. It's not a perfect entry though, but it does fit some of our criteria. Then you get another higher low here, but look how bearish it is, so you can't go long there. And so by that time we're back up to this high of this range, and we're just kind of going sideways here. So you definitely don't want to get long into this. If anything, you might look for a short. Notice we make this high here, first entry, second entry. This is really not a failed second entry long, but this is like a little failed break higher. You got that double top. It breaks higher. Man, something fell in my office there. I don't know if y'all could hear that or not. It scared me to death. Thought somebody was coming in to get me. But anyway, this is a kind of a bullish signal bar. This one is very bearish, and it does come off that trend line right there. And it is a failed break higher. It is kind of a double test with a failed break, fairly bearish bar. So really the only way I recommend this one is to let it break below this and drop a limit order back up here. And if you get in that way, you're probably okay, because otherwise, if you got in way down here and you didn't have enough room to scalp out, it would have come back and stopped you out. So, and plus we did have a break and a new high. You just don't get a very good setup here. The only reason I semi like this is the break and a new high, the bearish bar, and the fact that it does turn down right off that trend line again. So you just have to make sure you got enough room to get out before you get to these lows, and maybe probably even the EMA again. So I'm not crazy about that one. I marked it, but I'm just not crazy about it. I really didn't even want to mark it, but there's some reasons to consider that one if you enter it the right way. So by that time, we're just kind of going sideways here, and we're just stuck in a tighter range. I don't have the line across the bottom, but there's one here. You can see that, and we do get a little failed break lower here, but again, it's not a very good setup. So I think you're better off just to stay out of that. You actually get a failed break lower, again, not a very good setup. But notice you get two legs up and you turn down right off this again. You get a really bearish bar, makes a double top. That's like the double test of this level. But again, you're almost always better off to wait on that lower high, which comes here. And so I like entering there better. And this thing takes on off. You had to kind of wait that pull back out just a little bit. And even here, you've got a higher low, so you might have even considered entering here. If it would have broken higher there, I would have definitely said add on or whatever. But if you weren't already in, you could consider entering right there, especially since we've already pushed through right here. The odds are we're probably going to go down and test this low again if we're going lower. And so I like that one. But without that little break higher there that would trap some people, I'm not crazy about adding on to this one right here, especially if you were in either one of these first ones. If you're in here, I'd definitely probably add on to this one, but when it didn't go anywhere yet and you're kind of still hanging around here, it makes it look like we're back in the range again. So I'm not as crazy about that one. But if you weren't in yet, you got that little higher low, you might consider entering. Because we just had too much resistance off that line not to go to the other side again. And here it goes and ends up, if you catch that one or one of these entries, you can ride this all the way down. So, and you consistently made lower highs and lower lows all the way down, even though it looks like it's starting to find some support. It's making lower highs and lower lows, so you still are trending down right there. It's just slowed down a little bit, and then it ends up breaking on down. And I would measure like, oops. Seems I never catch the right leg. I'd measure that leg and then look for a measured move, and that gets you down here pretty close to where we closed within a few ticks. So that would have been a perfect measurement for you. So yeah, that's what I saw today. Not a lot of trades, but there's, the good thing is we're getting movement again. We got some volatility and we got some volume coming back. So again, we're already bouncing at the 2670 area. I mean, we just went through 2600. So this market is still strong. We were overdue for a little bit of a correction for a day here, probably. Will we get a couple of days? Who knows? We may start rallying again, or we may back off and go back and test that 2600 and fill some of those gaps that we had. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up for the day. Hope you had a good trading day. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow. I'm done for today. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.